89% of people living in chronic pain avoid discussing it with their family and friends and instead suffer in silence. Now, ahead of the 1st of October, which marks the World's Day Against Pain, we're joined now by Eileen Hopkins, who lives with chronic pain, and Dr. Paul Murphy, who's a consultant in pain medicine at St. Vincent's Hospital in Dublin. Good morning to you both. Eileen, we're going to start with you. You're a nurse, former nurse, so a medical professional. And one assumes that if you're in pain or there's something wrong, you'd have a reasonably good idea of what to do about it, or you'd certainly know somebody who could help you with it. That didn't prove to be the case. Well,
initially, I've had pain for over 10 years. Initially, I just thought it was just back pain, and it just got worse. In 2012, then I had surgery on my back, settled for a year, and then it came back. It got a lot worse. I was in and out getting tests, and a lot of the tests just proved that everything was showing up, that nothing was wrong, and it was got to the stage that I really felt nobody believed me, and I just thought, my God, is this all in my mind?
But you've been a nurse for 20-odd years. And,
yeah, I know.
You know, if somebody like you says, I'm in pain, other people who are also medical professionals should be going, well, OK, there's something going on here, we just haven't found it yet.
Yeah, but it just got to the stage that I just thought, nobody believes me. Is this all in my mind? And then I actually met Dr. Paul Murphy in August of 2015. For the first time, somebody believed that there was something wrong. Dr. Paul Murphy told me then that I had chronic myofascial pain. And before that, I actually nearly wished I had cancer, because I thought, at least I'll have a diagnosis. It'll be something.
The level, I know there's two aspects to this. A, there's just dealing with. There's the day-to-day living with and dealing with pain and how difficult that can be and how it can inhibit, you know, all aspects of your life.
Yeah.
And then there's the mental stroke, emotional isolation you feel with,
exactly.
I know there's something wrong with me, nobody believes me. Is there? Am I going mad? So did you go through all of that?
Oh, absolutely. Totally. Every bit of it. Every single bit of it.
And the net result was you withdrew and stopped talking about it?
Yes, because it got to the stage nobody wanted to know about it. My identity was not Eileen Hopkins, it was Eileen Hopkins' pain. That was my identity.
And people rolling their eyes going, oh God, here we go. OK. Now, yours is just one case, and I would imagine, Dr. Paul Murphy, thank you very much for joining us, that for every person with chronic pain, there's probably a different scenario. But the bottom line is, they're in agony.
Absolutely.
They can get help. And eventually they get to the point where people either get tired of listening to them, brand them a whinge, or they withdraw because they feel nobody gets it, and sure, what else can they do except live in silence and isolation?
Well, absolutely, and this is a huge problem in Ireland. It's a huge societal problem. It's a huge problem primarily for the individual.
OK, just let's do the science bit. Define medically what chronic pain is.
Well, we all think we know what pain is, and everybody who's lived really has suffered pain at one point or another. But chronic pain is pain that's been present either continuously or intermittently for a 3-month period. Now, if we look at pain itself, it's a sensory and emotional disorder, and you did touch on the emotional aspect of it earlier on. But a sensory and emotional disorder due to actual or, very interestingly, potential tissue damage. So that's why very often somebody like Eileen's story will have had a range of investigations and X-rays and MRIs and all sorts of scans, and everything will look, quite normal. And people will often sit there in a clinic and saying, well, like, actually, what's wrong with me? I've got all these normal scans, normal investigations, but I still feel pain. And people just don't believe me because they can't find anything with the investigations.
Do you have a barometer or a measurement by which you decide, OK, if it's over that amount, it's chronic pain? I mean, is there a medical yardstick?
It's time. Time is the yardstick.
Right,
and that if pain is present for more than 3 months, it's termed chronic. And that's not just a figure that we pluck from the air, because at 3 months, your nervous system actually begins to change, begins to alter and change the way it functions. And in many ways, having any chronic pain syndrome is a bit like having a short circuit in your nervous system. So all the normal sensations that we normally have, like touch, temperature, vibration, all those normal sensations short circuit. And they begin to go into the most primitive pathway in our body. And if you think of all animals developing, the most primitive pathway is pain, because it's a protective function. So acute pain that we all have is actually a good thing to have. If we didn't have pain, we'd probably end up damaging our joints and our muscles and our skin, and really not being aware of a problem. The difference with chronic pain is it doesn't have any useful function. So there's nothing that we can escape from. And that inability to escape from this painful stimulation is what causes a lot of the psychological
So by
issues.
definition, chronic pain is debilitating and life-altering.
Absolutely life-altering, and has a huge psychological and emotional component
Well,
to it.
then why do people like Eileen find themselves not being taken seriously?
I think part of the problem is that a lot of people really, or a lot of training, a lot of individuals who are trained would almost look at a mechanical or a mechanistic approach to things and say, if somebody's got bad back and leg pain and we do an MRI, well, if there isn't a disc bulging out, or if there isn't a nerve being trapped, or if nerve studies are normal, well, actually there's very little we can do. And the problem really actually is at a much more, I suppose, cellular level and microscopic level, that the nervous system has changed. And in many ways, the tools that we have to assess what's going on just actually aren't quite sensitive enough. So we have to rely on the individual's report of their symptoms and what's going on with them to make the diagnosis.
Okay, see, yeah, I mean, we think of pain as being a physical manifestation of it, but I mean, pain is decided on and detected by and measured and shouted about by the brain. Now, if there's a short circuit in there and we know so little about the brain, then we're effectively shooting in the dark.
Absolutely, and all we can do is ask an individual what their pain is, how bad is their pain, and we use very kind of rudimentary tests like a pain score, like 0 to 10, and that again, that's different for every individual, but its use really isn't just detecting, are we treating somebody adequately.
Okay, well, you've got World Pain Awareness Day coming up very shortly. Things not to say to people who tell you they're in pain, but you look so well. It's all in your head. Have you seen a psychiatrist? Ooh, that's nice and supportive. You should learn to live with it. Get on with it. You should feel better by now. Everybody has pain.
It's all been said to me.
Every one
of them.
Now, the thing is that you still have pain. You still have to deal with it, right? But you've found another way of overcoming that, which is to focus your channel and your energy, or channel your energies into something else.
It's like the tennis player Serena Williams said, where your focus goes, your energy flows. And that's what has happened for me. Like at the beginning of this year, I was really, really struggling, a bad way with pain, and my life was pain. And in the end of February this year, I started doing a course which I was really passionate about, really enjoyed. I started studying for a diploma in life coaching in the Irish Life Coaching Institute in Tallaght. And it was totally life-changing experience for me. And I just graduated last Sunday with a diploma in professional business and life coaching. And
I think we have a photo of you graduating, do we? Oh, there you go.
That's with my tutor, Adrian Mitchell.
All right, okay.
And it was one of the happiest days of my life. It was an achievement I thought I'd never make.
Okay.
I had massive struggles during it, but I got there.
Oh, listen, I want to say thank you for coming on and saying it, because it's difficult to talk about. This is intensely personal. Paul, I'd actually like to invite you back, because there's areas of this that people are living in, and there's a human cost to this. I talked to John Lindsay recently, and he said that Chronic Pain Ireland reckon that there's between 40 and 50 people committing suicide every year, not because they're depressed or not because they're ill, but they just can't deal with it anymore. There's only one way out, and that's it. So they're not mentally ill, it's not depression, it's just nobody knows what's wrong with me and I can't bear it. Now, the idea that people are going through that and we can't help them or do something about it is something I think we should talk about in the future. But in the meantime, Eileen, congratulations. We wish you well in your new career, and Paul, it's nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Let's see what we can expect in fashion this morning.